Do these three things when overwhelmed for choice. You have so many ideas and yet so little time. I get it. There's little squirrels here and there's little squirrels there. This helps me focus when I know I have to get something done, and I know I have to get something done that requires originality. Okay, so here are the three things. The three S's that will help you focus and stop all those little squirrels from distracting you are search engine, someone else, and self. Now, I just want to break down each of those for you. Firstly, search engine. So that is those sources of information that we typically associate with online versions like Google and Pinterest, which is one of my favorites because it combines search with being very visual, Instagram, or any of your social media channels that you enjoy. But they are also offline search engines, and those are things like libraries and your book collection, things where you can search for sources of inspiration. So that's the first one, search engine. And when you use search engine, I just want you to search for three and then stop. I don't want you to keep spending lots of time going down rabbit warrens searching for inspiration. I want you to find three, record them, save them to your phone, print them, cut them out, stick them on a piece of paper, however you like to record your inspiration, and stop there. And then I want you to move to the next one. And the next one is someone else. Now, this is when you are seeking information from another human whose opinion you value and trust. That could be your partner, any member of your family, your friends. So those people you know, but they are also people that you don't necessarily know, but you do value and trust their opinion. And those might be people that you follow on YouTube, or books that you have read, or it could be a podcast that you listen to, somebody who has an idea or a method that you admire and you want to take that into your inspiration to solve the problem that you're about to solve. So that's the second one, someone else's opinion that you value and trust. Now, the third one is self. And I want you to reflect on your experience and knowledge. Chances are that this is a problem that you may have already experienced. And so you have prior learnings associated with solving this problem. And I want you to take some time to reflect on that experience and knowledge and write down three things that you know and understand about this particular problem and that you want to bring in or use again in solving this problem. So those are the three sources of information that will help you focus on getting something done with originality. So search engine, someone else, and self. Now I want to give you a practical example of how to apply these three S's in solving a problem. And it is simply, I want to make my husband a shirt, but I have no idea where to start. And that feeling isn't a lack of creativity. It's often that there are too many options and that you don't have enough structure around making a decision, that you just get stuck and you don't end up making anything. So the 3S system gives you enough input to move forward without overwhelm. So how do we apply search engine? You are trying to start. You are trying to collect three sparks of inspiration to start you moving forward, to help you get focused. Three sources of inspiration in this search engine phase can be Pinterest, men's fashion magazine, or even a retail shop. And the third one could be your pattern collection. So how could you use each of these? First source is Pinterest, which provides a visual direction for you and helps you answer, what do camp collar shirts look like right now? And Pinterest is great for showing you what the current trends are. And I have a whole inspiration board on camp collar shirts, for example. I'm always updating that with the latest inspiration. So that could be a great place to start to help answer what do camp collar shirts look like right now. And I want you to notice things like the colors, the prints, the styling. So is it tucked in? Is it left open? Do they layer it over a t-shirt? And this gives you the vibe before you choose your fabric or your pattern. And this stops you designing in a vacuum. Okay, so that's source one, Pinterest boards. Source two, walking into a store. There's nothing like sourcing inspiration in real life. How this source might help you is answering a question like, how are men wearing shirts this season? And walking into a store, you can instantly see how they've styled the shirt on a mannequin, what they've put it with. And you want to look at the sleeve length, the fit, is it loose or is it tailored? You want to look at the collar styles and also take notice of what the fabric types that they're using. And this keeps you focused on what is current and wearable. The third source under search engine can be your pattern collections. So instead of going to a library of books, you're going to a library of patterns. And this helps answer the question, what is actually possible to sew? I am all about sustainability, and if you already have something in your pattern collection, use it. Now, I have a camp collar shirt pattern. If you haven't got one in your collection, this is a great one to use. And it has been used many, many times by many people around the world. Now, I'll put a link to that camp collar shirt sewing pattern in the description for you if it's of interest to you. The other thing looking through your pattern collection does for you is I want you to observe the line drawings, and is there a connection between what you have and what you have seen in your previous two sources? Does it match what's in the shops at the moment? Does it match what's on Pinterest? And if it doesn't, is it a pattern that you can modify slightly so it does? And this then helps you ground the ideas into something that you can actually make. Having all the inspiration in front of you is well and good, but without you being able to feasibly make it leads to even more frustration. So those are three sources that you can use in that search engine phase. So Pinterest boards, walking into the shop, and thirdly, your existing pattern collection. Now, moving on to number two, someone else. First source, your husband or your partner, the person that you're making this garment for. And what he can help you answer is, when do you wear shirts like this? Ask him, would he wear it to work? Would it be something that he would wear on holidays? Would he wear it to a friend's barbecue, or would he wear it to something a little bit more formal in going to dinner out at a restaurant? Once you've been able to answer this question, you then start to shape the purpose of the shirt, and the purpose makes design decisions easier. Your second source is asking another sewer if they've made a camp collar shirt before for their husband or their partner. And a great question for them is, what fabric worked well for you when you made it? And this could be a fellow sewer who's a friend of yours, or it could be someone in your sewing group, whether that's online or whether you have a regular weekly or monthly sewing group that you attend. I also have a sewing group called the Pocket Square Club. It's a school community and we sew pocket squares. There's more to it than that, but we sew pocket squares, and if pocket squares isn't your thing, then you can use the same principles for bandanas or scarves. But that's another community that you can draw upon where you're asking another sewer. And what this insight gives you is that you're borrowing their mistakes, their successes, and their confidence. And this prevents you from reinventing that wheel. Now, the third source of someone else could be a YouTube sewer that you follow. and they will help you answer that question. How did they make this kind of shirt? So sewers have so many different ways and tips and tricks to make something, and checking out their YouTube channel gives you insight into, again, whether this is possible for you. So watch someone sewing a men's shirt, and in particular a camp collar shirt, if that's the type of shirt that you want to make. And some of the things that I want you to look for when you're watching those videos is, how does the fabric behave when they're sewing it? What sort of finishing techniques have they used when they're sewing that very tricky collar, for example? And how does the shirt hang on the body? Those are all really interesting things to observe. Now, of course, in my camp collar shirt, I have step-by-step videos which shows you a technique that I have used in making this shirt. But of course, it's not the only one that you can use. That resource is there for you to also draw upon. And this gives you a moving real world reference, not just a still photo, and it helps you picture what your shirt will become. Now, the third and final S is self. And this is your knowledge and experience of making a similar garment in the past. So if you've sewn a shirt before, then you can draw on that experience. If you haven't made the shirt before, then you draw on your story, your values. That helps you focus on creating something original. And this is where originality really starts to form. So your first source might be your memory of him. And a question that you can ask yourself is, when does he look at his best? And you could think of a recent holiday that you've been to, a dinner party that you went to, or even a time that he felt confident. These images, these memories will guide the colors that you choose, the type of fabrics that you sew the garment in, and the style, the final style that you choose. The reason this is so valuable is that you're not making a generic shirt. You're making his shirt. Now, the second source is your reason for making it. Asking yourself, why am I sewing this instead of racing to the shops to buy it? Is it for a special occasion like a birthday? Or are you simply just saying, thank you for being so wonderful and making this shirt? Is it because you want to learn a new skill and you've never tackled this type of shirt before? Or is it simply a way of you showing love? And the answers to these questions will impact how bold you go with the shirt, how special is the fabric? Is it the first time you're doing it, so you don't want to really invest in a really expensive fabric? Or you've done this many times before and this is for a really special milestone birthday, and so that fabric is really special? Or it could impact how much detail you add. So ask yourself why you are making it and understand how that impacts your focus on what you're going to make. Now, the third source of self could be your taste. What do you want to make? What do you enjoy making? Ask yourself, do I want a simple and clean garment? Or do I want a bold and expressive garment? Or do I want a soft and relaxed garment? Do I want a fabric that's really easy to sew with? Or do I want something a little bit more challenging? And this matters because you have to live with the sewing process. So that's your third source of self. So just to summarize each of those again, under that third S, your first source is your memory of him. Your second source is what's the reason for making it. And the third one is, what are your tastes? What do you enjoy making? So how do you bring all this information together? With what you have, you can confidently answer the questions of what I'm going to make, why I'm going to make it, and how I'm going to make it. This is what the 3 S's do for you. So instead of a very broad statement of, I want to make my husband a shirt, you can now say, I want to make my husband a camp collar shirt, and I want him to be able to wear it to summer barbecues in a relaxed fit in a fabric that reminds me of our recent summer holiday. This is what the 3 S's do for you. It helps you take an idea from overwhelm to focused motion, and it becomes very easy then to decide what pattern I'm going to use and what fabric I'm going to use and get started. I would love you to try these 3 S's for yourself.